Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fearless and Free TV. Today, I am super excited to bring some longtime friends on the show that I've been watching for about the last 10 years. Actually, we've been watching each other for about the last 10 years and what they've done with their service to the world. And they've been watching what I've been doing with my service to the world. I'm so excited to bring them on. Before I do, I just want to remind all of you, if you haven't yet, to hop on over to my website at victoriareynolds.com and pick up a copy of Rise Up. It is your simplified guide to the Great Awakening, the Ascension, and Spiritual Revolution. And while you're there, check out the other books that I've written. I actually have 3 other books and some products and services for you. So I hope to see you over there. And I do send out a weekly or so inspirational newsletter. I say weekly or so because sometimes it's once a week, sometimes it's twice a week, and sometimes it's every couple of weeks, just depending on how inspired I feel in the messages that come through me from Spirit. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my very good friends, April and Jay Matta.
Victoria.
Hi, April. Hey, Jay.
What are you doing there, Victoria? How are you?
Hey,
Victoria.
it's always good to see the two of you on screen. Yeah.
So, thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I love what the two of you are doing in the world. So for the audience, April and Jay have known each other since, I want to say 2010. I believe I was one of the first guests on your Spiritually Raw show way back in the first wave of the awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
So different. And I remember I was so intrigued with, shall we call it your very fruitful life, your childhood and everything, all of your experiences. And, when people look at you, Victoria, you look like so, conservative and beautiful and my life is perfect, but you've had a very interesting childhood and life. And it was really extraordinary to be able to delve into that and understand it a little bit better from your perspective. And we've been friends ever since. And it's just been really great.
Yeah, it's been really fun. It's been fun to see what the two of you have done in the world of television, online TV. So you two had a TV show, I think before even YouTube, or maybe YouTube was just
starting. Yes.
Just starting. We actually did it, and then we had it hosted on a private website. So it was a little clunky, but it was what it was at that point in time. But yeah, we did it. And then that was, I think I don't even think we were too familiar with YouTube then, right?
No, we weren't. Social media was just starting to, you were like, well, Facebook, how exactly do you make a post? And,
it was that. Yeah, that's what it was.
And
it's video was still kind of a new thing. You two were out on the leading edge of internet video. And you had that website and I think that was the very first interview I did was with the two of you. And you had a show, and that's the first time I'd ever seen an online show. So you two have always been way out on the leading edge of getting messengers seen and heard across the world. And so it's been really fun watching you play in this field of how can we get what I'm hearing is more love broadcasted across the airwaves, because really you've always been focused on spirituality. You've always been focused on what's new. And what's interesting is some of the conversations you were having 10 years ago were so way out there.
Very far out there.
And now they're
so normal.
Mainstream.
They're like, wow. Yeah. Like they are so common, aren't they? Wow, isn't that something?
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It is, especially, when we were having these conversations back then, they were really mind-boggling. Like we would end the show and Jay and I would be like, oh my God, do you believe what they were just talking about?
So I'm like, this is great. This is going to keep us in it. This stuff's very entertaining. That's exactly where.
Yeah. And then you would think, yourself, okay, is this really happening? Or are they just a little out there? Right. Because everybody's a little out there. Right. And especially when we would hear conversations where people would be like the incarnation of this one and the incarnation of that one and Jesus and Buddha. And we've had disciples and Apostle Paul's. I mean, you name it, all Mary Magdalene's all the way down the line. And back then it was just like, really? Okay. I'd love to hear what you have to say because it's so intriguing. But then we would end the show and be like, Jay, that's the craziest thing I ever did to hear. right? But now it's like so normal. You know, it's like, geez, I could see how the energies that you may feel like you have or believe or really are the energy of X, Y, and Z. And it just...
It's a real possibility.
Yeah, there's possibilities absolutely exist.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, so my understanding of it is that, well, they're energy waves, but they're actually changing our ability to communicate and to see and hear interdimensionally. And that just didn't exist. It existed for very few people. There were some people who were really gifted psychics who could tap into the fourth dimension, but that was as far as people could go until what I call the 2012 convergence. And then suddenly so many other people had access to multi-dimensions. And, you know, you used to have to go sit under a banyan tree or go out to the desert for 40 days and 40 nights to be able to transcend what we call 3D. Now, even 10 years ago, there wasn't even the term 3D, 4D, 5D wasn't even a thing.
It really wasn't. I don't remember hearing it
not
back then
at
at all.
all.
Just like I think like last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
From my perspective.
Probably you with your course, 60 in the Money Tree. That's probably where, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
I know you and I talked about that before you got out, and that's pretty exciting.
I would say
Yeah.
the whole level, the dimensions of that, you know, where people actually have a title to it is relatively new in the mainstream, or not even the main. Well, I consider this, you know, mainstream from purposes, but I don't ever remember hearing the term 3D, 4D, 5D at all until just a few years ago.
Yeah, some of us were talking about it, but it wasn't part of the mainstream conversation. We would talk about it in our really, you know, you kind of test a conversation to see how far you could go with it. So I was having those conversations 10 years ago, but very few people.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's just much, but it's nice though. You know what I mean? But you know what's cool is like the Victoria's like the, you know, I'm not like, I don't know. There's so much more like evidence now about people telepathically communicating. You know, hey, you know, I just you'll text someone and it's like, I just was about to call, or I mean, those stories you heard are just a lot more of those stories now. You know, we always heard like, oh, I was thinking about that person, the phone would ring. You're just hearing like waves of those kind of stories right now. You know, there's just so much, which is pretty wild to see where that's all leading us.
It's really exciting because you think of how much have we evolved, right? A few years ago, minus you, very few people will be talking about 3D, 4D, 5D, and look at how much we've evolved in such a short period of time. You take that out another 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years, the evolution is going to be staggering. We may not even be speaking verbally. It could be all telepathic, or the majority of it telepathic at that point. I was just right before the show, we had an interview right before that one, and I was watching something on the internet where it's an investor, and he was talking about what's the latest and best thing to be investing in. And he was talking about how in the next few years, like it's already here right now, electric cars. But what he was saying is in the very, very near future, our gas cars are absolutely going to be obsolete, and that it is going to be strictly electric. And there's this concept very similar to Uber, you know, where Uber picks you up and takes you in a regular traditional car. These new types of cars, that are also electric, but they are mechanically driven by AI, right? No humans. But for example, you would pay this service, let's say $150 a month, and they would come pick you up in these electric cars. And because we're not going to need gas, it's going to bring all of that down dramatically, right? It's going to dramatically lower the cost of cars, gas, electricity, so forth and so on. And these concepts will be coming to pick you up, take you wherever you want for virtually very little money, because the costs to run them are so much more efficient that really gas cars and parking lots and everything that goes along with a traditional car are really going to be obsolete in our very near future.
Wow. And I can see that. They're actually they're self-generated cars.
Mm-hmm.
So even having to go and charge up someplace, I think that whole charging idea is going to disappear as well. Because the cars will actually be self-generating. It could be solar energy that powers them, but
and we'll be flying one day.
Exactly.
Be flying cars, like the Jetsons.
Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday who said the hover cars already exist.
I think they do. They have to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the technology is already out there.
Yeah.
If we
fly a
just,
small plane, you
it's
can
just
sure
about us
fly a small
catching up
car.
to it and learning how to use these technologies with a better mindset. So one of the things I started noticing a few years ago is that we have these really advanced technologies with beliefs that are thousands of years old. So we have to change our beliefs in order to use our technologies to their highest and greatest potential.
Similarly, exactly, that goes in line with like the med beds, because it is based on your human consciousness, right? So from what I understand, from what we've been told, is if you really need the right frame of mind, body, spirit to go into these types of futuristic healing capsules, so to speak, for it to have the most effectiveness on what you're trying to achieve.
Right. Well, that even comes down to the basic consciousness of doubt. So if you doubt your body's ability to heal, it won't heal.
It won't heal.
Exactly.
So you can't go into a bed if you don't have the consciousness to believe that the bed can rearrange your body, but heal your body. Mm-hmm. So you do have to have the right consciousness to make it work. And it's interesting because I see a lot of the technologies that are out there that are currently being used as weapons that in a higher consciousness would actually be used for something entirely different. That's what I mean about the advanced technologies with ancient, archaic, fear-based beliefs. And so once we flip the script on our beliefs, then we'll be able to see how to use those technologies for peace rather than war, kind of thing, or for replenishing the planet rather than destroying the planet. Same technology, different mindset.
Exactly. It's exciting. It's very exciting.
So let's talk about what you two are up to. I know that you're always out there on the leading edge with regard to broadcasting. Let's say the interview industry, but that's a little bit different. This is about broadcasting, the world of broadcasting, the world of helping messengers be seen and heard across the planet so that we can do the work we're here to do more efficiently. So the two of you seem to be always out on the leading edge with regard to broadcasting. So what are you two up to now?
So in recent few months, the couple of things we've done is we've taken the show. There's a lot of censorship, right? So which is you always that's the thing. I mean, it's that whole cliche. You have something, you can choose to react to it as like, oh, this really just sucks, right? And it just ruins your day. Or you can say, what is the real opportunity, right? Because we're just really truly having this, matrix spiritual experience, whatever people define it. So, as you go through that and you start to shift there, then the other opportunities open up. So for us, what opened up was pretty cool is that we are now on Spiritually Raw is now on Roku TV. That opens up a lot more for people. People have been asking us for years, like, hey, are you guys on TV? What, how can I get you there? Or how can I watch it on my TV? Now you can, right? And then as of probably any time now, or pretty much now, I think it is, the Apple, like the iPhones, they'll be able to download us on the app and watch us from there. Their smartphones, their iPad, the Apple TV thing. So that's where we're going as far as that goes. And that's going to be an ever evolving thing, Victoria, because you got to, right? So, especially with the, how you say it, like the, really nobody knows what's going on a day-to-day basis, what the state of the world is like with the different broadcasting channels, YouTubes and all that things out there, right? Here today, gone tomorrow, who knows? So you just got to keep going. You have to keep going. So we always have looked at it as like, okay, well, let's just, we evolve, but we want to evolve and, we want to take a look at, modern technology, but also give people the ability to be able to use traditional means to watch us, if you would, like their TV. And that seems to be coming around more prevalent now. So we're super excited about that. People are really, the members are, really just very excited about being able to watch us there and, soon on the app. So that's been new and exciting as far as the show goes. And we're getting a cool new facelift on the site.
Yeah. By the time this video comes out.
Yeah, it should be, anytime. But the site's going to has a new facelift on it too. That's been working on for a while. A lot of cool stuff happening. And so it's just, you get creative with the source. The source brings you information and, whatever, as it gets clearer, then, we know to, and it keeps coming at you, right? Then that's when you know to implement it. So.
Yeah. And what's really interesting about TV is Well, we've known for a while, we need to get into the homes and into the palms of everyone. And what I was saying about 6 months ago is we need to love hack the airwaves. And so I was saying like
I like that.
we need love-based programming to be just as accessible as fear-based programming. So when eventually people turn on the TV and all they see is love-based programming, and that they would much rather watch us than all the what they call fear porn, right? They'd much rather watch something inspiring than something that is scary. And that it's a matter of us making that content easily and readily available. And right now, the only place people have been able to access it is places like YouTube. And that, as we know, I think that's on its way out. For those of us that had YouTube channels I had mine 2011, I got my YouTube channel. But I think that's kind of an old technology.
Mm-hmm. Technically, I mean, actually, you're really right. People may feel like it's modern, but the truth of the matter is it's really not. It is what you said. It's almost outdated. Yeah. Really.
And Facebook too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People want to try the new thing for a while, and then eventually, people go back. History repeats itself, I guess, in some fashion, right? So, people. But I think you're going to see a trend of like pretty cool networks coming up, right? That are going to have like a quote unquote censorship free or just more of a free speech kind of arena for people. I think those are. I'm sure you're going to be seeing those, like really legitimate ones, though. You know what I mean? Not like halfway in, halfway out. I mean, they're really right there. So I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of those come to play. And then you're going to start to see more shows like ours, broadcasters, because you see a lot of these broadcasters. They're like, this shoot, that shoot, everywhere, shoot. You know what I mean? They're like on every different platform ever. And they spend so much time, which is really not great. They spend so much time, half their time, reporting with their gifts that they have, and then the other half is trying to find a home. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is ridiculous.
It's exhausting.
It's so exhausting. So that's the other reason we went to like a Roku thing, because we know that, hey, this is where we live, and then we have Spiritually Raw Live. That's where we live. So it allows us to be able to do the main, or keep the main thing, right? Which is, get the valuable content out there. But I think you're going to start seeing more and more networks like that come out, where it's going to create safe havens for people who are there to share their message, and they can eventually, hopefully maybe this year, but very soon, they're going to be able to be like, okay, we got a home now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this is where we live for a while. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that coming around the corner, Victoria.
Yeah, I think what we're going to start seeing are like channels that are dedicated to specific topics.
Yeah.
So you'll end up having, like you have Netflix. Netflix is internet, but what it stands for is internet movies, right? So you have Netflix, which is just movies. I think we're going to start seeing channels that are dedicated to specific topics, and I know that you guys are working on that a little bit with your Spiritually Raw concept of people know when they go to Spiritually Raw TV, they're going to see all kinds of shows that are dedicated, kind of like Gaia. So Gaia TV is a perfect example of that. It's all spiritual content. I think we're going to see more and more of those, where if people want to see just like political content, they'll go to a channel that is exclusive to
that makes a lot of
Awakening channel or whatever, but people know they can go to a specific channel to look for specific content rather than YouTube, where it's just a hodgepodge of everything.
That would be outrageously perfect.
It's going to happen.
Yes, I can see how that would definitely morph in that direction. It just has to
go that way, because there's not this way right now. Like I said, you don't get look at how many great messengers we all know, and everybody knows them. But then again, like I said, it's not good again that they're having to find where you just got to play the game, but you have to play the game, right? So that's not what you signed up for. So you're going to see, like you said, I think, Victoria, a lot more of those coming up, call them compartmentalized or whatever, but this is this topic, this is where you go for that, but that's what you're going to see that.
Yeah. What's interesting, I'm just getting something, and that is, it's kind of like the new cable TV.
Yeah.
Well, that's
right?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Exactly what it is. So you would know if you went to
Channel
TV,
12.
you would get a specific content. But cable
Right.
TV is, again, it's old. Not a lot of people watch cable TV anymore. Now they're all smart TV. What can I get on my smart TV? And so it's kind of like that, where there are channels that are specific to a particular type of content, and people know that's where they can go if they're looking for this particular type of content.
I totally agree with that.
I think that's the new in thing.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like, look at the blessing in disguise of that, because that is what's going to happen. So people are going to just get to do this. And I think when we get to 2022, by the time we get to 2022, you're going to see it's going to feel very different once again. But I think things are moving
at Mach speed.
Yeah, like Mach speed, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, exactly. So you're seeing these things like something that you normally think, that would be like a year. It's like, I don't know. It's just time is just very, very fast. Things are very fast. Manifestation is very, very extraordinarily fast right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what I was just sensing? So when you're looking at cable shows, those are all controlled by the cable company, or not by the cable company, whoever it is that owns that particular channel. And the content, they have to go through the application process of whether their show or their concept deserves to be seen on that particular channel. And they have the pilot, and then they have the 6 episodes. And if they're picked up, then they create the 16, that whole process. I think this is different in that there will be these channels, but they're more about each creator creating their own content. There isn't an overseer that tells them what they can and can't say. It's more of a.
Yes.
You see this, everybody? This is manifestation in its purest form right there, right? That's how you do it. It's true.
It is true.
No, it's funny. These are the kinds of conversations I have with you off camera. So
right.
It's fun to be having.
That's how you do it.
That's how you manifest
it into existence.
You have to. This is how you do it. I mean, people I think overcomplicate manifestation. It's like, there's let me stick a yacht on a board and stare at it, and it's going to show up. And it just doesn't work that way. It's, you got to do your part. You got to talk to it. You got to live it. You got to bring life to it. Like you talking about this network, this engagement and energy right now is manifesting it.
Right.
This is really how manifestation works.
And what's super cool too, Victoria, because you you could see it. You're like, what you just said, you stopped, you saw it coming in. Yeah. Right. So it's very interesting how it works. Like you're already tapped into something that's already been in existence, not in our lifetime, but you are seeing it in whether, another lifetime, another timeline, or wherever you're retrieving the information from, where it is already in existence. And now you're speaking it, and that's how we create it into our existence, because it's already been created somewhere, and it's being dripped down into your brain, into your mind, into your consciousness, and out of your mouth it comes.
That's exactly how we've done everything we've ever created over the last 10 years with this, is really just talked it out, talked it into existence.
Yeah, here's something that's really fascinating for people to grasp. And you were talking about this, April. We wouldn't even be able to imagine something if it didn't already exist. That's
fascinating. That's true.
Right, which is you are literally tapping into the energy of where it's already existing right now.
All we're doing is bringing it into our reality.
Yeah, exactly.
So by talking about it, we're energizing it. And here's something a lot of people don't seem to take into consideration. When you think about the word attraction, so we're talking about attraction, right? We're attracting into our reality what we're visualizing and what we're talking about. We're attracting it in. Half of the word attraction is action.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
But you're right. They don't realize.
A lot of people think, I'm just going to sit here and magically manifest it. There actually is act. The word act is in the word attraction. It requires us to actually do something about it. We can bring into our field all of the ideas and all of the resources. We still need to act on the resources, because they're going to do the work for us.
Right. And, the universe is there to help guide us and give us direction, but they're not going to, magically, there's this misconception like with God or energy or whatever, if like there's like it's a magic wand, right? And if I just pray to it, it's going to magically appear. It just doesn't work that way. You have to put your thoughts into action. And then the universe is like, they're starting to create. Let's help them out a little more. Let's give them another idea. Let's bring in a little bit more of this and a little bit more of that. And let's build on the foundation that they themselves are creating.
Co-creation is a real thing. Co-creation, right? That implies that both parties got to do their part. You know what I mean? So, and that's what it is. It's really co-creating. And when you think about it from that aspect of, hey, I gotta, here's my vision.
I gotta dive in.
I gotta dive in. Start having conversations like this, like how it's gonna happen, and then eventually you see it, and it just comes into it comes into existence. Yeah, it's a pretty awesome thing. It gets overcomplicated thing a lot of times, though.
Well, a part of it is because fear gets in the way for starters. I mean, fear. So doubt is a fear-based energy, and doubt is the killer of dreams. So, you might have a great idea, but then as soon as doubt sets in, doubt actually kills. It puts a disease on the dream and kills it. And so energetically, doubt's one of the worst things we can do in our ability to create, because we're all infinite creators. That we're all made in the image and likeness of the creator, right? We are creators. That is one of the greatest assets of being a human being, is our ability to create. Our minds are so powerful, we can create simply by thought. And, I'm going back to the old saying, God helps those who help themselves. So if you want God to do something for you, you've got to kind of get out of your own way and help the system out. And the other word that I wanted to share with the two of you that I use all the time is intercreation rather than co-creation.
That's very good.
Intercreation looks like this.
That's very good.
And so it's more of we're doing our work, and Source comes in and intercreates with us into this beautiful, harmonious partnership. And we're also intercreating with each other just by having this conversation. We are intercreating with each other. So no one is ever creating alone. That's a concept that took me a while to grasp. I was like, I'm a self-made woman, right? And then I finally realized one day, wait a minute, I'm not a self-made woman. I couldn't be who I am without my clients. I couldn't be who I am without my experiences. I couldn't be who I am without the people who were part of my life 10 years ago who taught me. Like, nobody does it alone.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so true.
And when you look at it that way, you get more of the blessings, you know what I mean? And it's just, it's now's a really good time for people to think about everything we've learned 10 years ago, or even that they're learning in recent, we're getting like download, like super duper downloads, right? So now's a good time for people to apply it, right? Because there's got to be some sort of window or energy open. Maybe it's just that we all just seem to connect it, and that's what did it. I don't know. But there's got to be the time right now. It just seems to be so perfect for people to have everything they've ever thought of. Mind, body, spirit, prosperity. You know what I mean? Digress in age, increase in prosperity. You know what I mean? Have incredible vital health. I mean, all those things are timing is right now, and people can do it. It's like almost like I see it in a sense, Victoria, that it's like we've been given it. It's almost like we're getting the opportunity to hit a reset button.
Yeah, literally. It's like you get another go at this, and that doesn't, I don't think, happen a lot of times. But as a humanity, it feels like we got a chance to we got an opportunity to hit the reset button again. Give it another go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was saying back in the beginning of 2020 that the 2020 was the great pause button. It was like the separation between the old world and the new world, and that we all got to just sit and pause for a year. And now we're moving, some people are choosing to move one direction, and some people are choosing to move the other direction. And yeah, we all have the ability right now to do a complete reset. It's so funny. I was just remembering this old saying. I think it might have been Zig Ziglar from years ago, way back when one of the very first self-help books I read. And it was, if you can imagine it, you can achieve it. Something to that effect.
What is it?
Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, it's
You say it all the time.
If yes,
No pressure.
well, you
Spit it out.
Give me a second. The mind can, whatever the mind believes and achieves, it can. Whatever the mind believes and conceives, it can achieve.
Right. Thank you. And it's exactly the quote I was trying to think of as well. Thank you for remembering that so well. But what I was seeing is how much faster and easier that process is now. So back in his day when he wrote that, there was that ability to imagine it and believe it. There was hard work associated with achieving it.
Exactly.
That hard work isn't necessary anymore. In a fear-based reality, it's hard work. In a love-based reality, it's not. It's it's more playful work.
Exactly. It's easier. It's lighter. It's effortless. You know, we were just saying, we just got done an interview, and they were asking us about, you know, our past occupation, as you know, was financial services. And I was saying, they're like, well, what is different between then and now? I'm like, well, first of all, I said back then, even though you were successful, but it was more like, oh, are we going to get this deal closed? Oh, you know, it was like it was always like that feeling. And then a relief of, oh, thank you, finally, right? And now it's just very different. It's effortless. You almost are like expecting it. Like, you know, why isn't it here now? I'm ready for it. Bring it on. But things come a lot more effortless now, a lot easier. And like Jay was saying, it's everything's speeding up very, very quickly.
Different. It's good, different.
Which is why you do have to be super aware and super conscious of your thoughts and your words and your actions, because the energies have opened up so much that you create it, good or bad, in your life quicker now. So you have to be super conscious and super aware of your thoughts and your words, because when it comes out, you can create it just literally that quick.
Whatever you want.
Similarly, when people are thinking, oh my gosh, you know, I'm never going to get out of this doldrum, or I'm never going to break this habit, or I'm never this, never that. You're getting it faster and faster and faster than ever before. So why not flip that around and started creating magic instead of dwelling on the fear?
We've got the dots. The collective consciousness is really connecting, I think, more than I've ever been aware of in my lifetime, at least anyway. Only speaking to myself here, but those thoughts, those collective consciousnesses, I mean, those are like, we're co-creating, not only with creator, we're co-creating, intercreating, forgive me, spiritual luminary, is that we are intercreating, you know, with each other at just an amazing level. And there's just this there's just this beautiful sense of freedom where you already get a knowing. I mean, look, you know, you don't necessarily, you know, I don't think we've ever actually physically met, but you get the knowing of meeting someone, and all of a sudden you can just create like that. These are magical, beautiful times, not suffering, dull, and, you know, terrible times. These are I think these are the best times
to be alive.
I am just, wow. This is like, you know, this is just amazing. It really is. Just the whole essence of, again, mind, body, spirit, prosperity together, convergence. You know, I think in life people get a feeling of like, hey, I'm sharp, or this. They don't necessarily, but the ability to be able to converge all that is here right now for all of us. You know,
right?
Really cool.
Right.
It's just such an incredible time to be able to experience. You know, like when we had the show before, we did a lot of biblical and prophecy and so forth and so on like that. And you thought, well, okay, it sounds great. You know, it's just a great story. But now we're actually living it, and you're actually seeing it, and you're feeling it, and you're watching all these chapters unfold in real time. That is pretty extraordinary in itself.
Yeah, we're living what everybody was talking about 10 years ago. That's wild. People ask us what was different about then and there. There was like, you know, really just like, hey, we're talking about it, whatever, but, you know, and it was just entertaining, you know, really good there. But this is like, wow, we're reporting on current events. It's like that. We're reporting on a real current event that's happening now.
Yeah, isn't that trippy? It is. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're actually in this time. Right. People have been talking about this for thousands of years, and we're actually in it.
Right. It's when you stop to think about that in itself is a major mind trip, it's mind boggling. And then you're like, you start to think to yourself, geez, what did I do before in my life that warranted us to come back at this time in life? Like we must have done karmically something really great before to have brought us here to this point, right? Because everybody that's here right now is here for a very specific reason. Everybody's playing a very specific role.
The growth that you see people we get out of this whole experience is just, you can never quantify it. You can't put a dollar amount on it. I mean, just the personal growth, the spiritual growth, the connection with source is just off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What's happening when you again, and the meeting of the soul sisters and brothers that you meet, and you get those deep level connections, that journey, life is like, it doesn't have to, like, I tell people, like, it doesn't have to be mundane. They can be the most, this is like a coolest theme park ride all the time. It really is. It's really
yeah. And it's definitely been a roller coaster for sure.
Yeah, it has. But it's not mundane. It's not mechanical. You know what I mean? That's what we got out of that other business for, because it was very mechanical. And that's just not a way. Money was good, yes, but it was not a way we wanted to live existence. You know what I mean?
I think there's a difference between earning a living and making money, even if you're very, very successful, as opposed to manifesting. Like, I understood the concept of the law of attraction. I understood the concept of manifestation, but I don't think I ever really put it into play like how we're doing it now. I understand connecting the dots and the spiritual aspect of it, of how to actually really manifest now, which is different than just making money.
Yeah, earning it, because you gotta feel it. The manifestation it's a feeling, it's a vibe,
right.
It's emotion. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where working is what's in your mind. And you can be paid very well, just have no real passion. You know what I mean? Just because of what you know. But manifestation and what you want, desire, it comes with your feeling. Like, oh man, you feel that, and just you getting there. That's so much better.
Manifestation, from my perspective, also comes from earning money. You can do great always in your occupation, right? If you like your occupation and it's like, oh, this is good, it's paying the bills real good, and where I live and comfortable, everything's great. Manifestation is when you are creating great abundance from doing what you love. Mm-hmm. Manifestation is creating effortlessly when you're living your life's passion, when you're doing your dharma, really. That's how I see it. And that's what is, I would say, the biggest transition in our life, is going from just making money to truly learning how to manifest what your heart really desires, what your soul purpose is.
Right. Well, and I'm glad you brought heart up, because ultimately that's what it is. So we're in the process of creating a heart-based reality, a love-based reality. So the manifestation really is a vibrational match to what's going on inside our hearts. That's that emotion, that feeling that you were talking about. That works. You can think all day long about bringing something into your reality. It is what's going on inside your heart space that manifests what's going on. So if you're feeling fearful and contracted and constricted and afraid, the attraction matches that. So you're going to get more of whatever that restriction is. Mm-hmm. And so the mind has the ability to imagine it. The heart is what energizes it.
I think that's a great analogy.
That's a really great analogy, because you're right. You got to feel it. You got to feel it. You got to feel the goosebumps of it and the chills that make you like, oh my. Once you feel those chills, this is about to happen for you. It's right there. You know what I mean? It's in your whatever aura, energy, whatever you want to call it, right? But it's there. It's pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's the word I'm hearing is magnetizing. You can feel it being magnetized to you. So the heart emits an electromagnetic field that and so I've been noticing that my electromagnetic resonance has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So that creates a magnetism that actually draws things to you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And I think a lot of that also, from our perspective, comes from speaking. And when you're speaking, you're opening up your throat chakra, which is opening up your heart chakra. And then all these energies start connecting and realigning. And that again helps to create and manifest whatever your heart's desire is and your passion.
And you see, like, there's and this is where people really want to think about this. And this is not trying to go down that rabbit hole, but then you want to be careful about the things like, people are wearing their muzzles, right? And that's a way to stop people from being able to talk through. It's a way to say, no, you don't need that much power. There's more to it than protecting people or the thought of that. It's really muzzling them up so they don't create and talk through it, and they create this because we're co-creators and we have to act like co-creators, you know what I mean? And so,
you're not getting intercreated, remember?
I have a thing for teaching people new words.
I'll get it. I'll use it on next. I'll start using it. I'll steal it too and use it on our show.
It's fine. One of the messages that came in a couple of years ago is that Spirit loves to play with words. So we do our word play. And so we're always up leveling our language as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that there are
oh my gosh,
come into your repertoire over the years.
Oh,
so I can big time.
Yeah.
I can share with you from experience because this happens a lot for me, but I can feel myself at night a lot, often travel and then come back. But when I come back, man, I just feel there's times where I'm like, how am I so smart? I just don't get it. You know what I mean? But you've been downloaded. And I mean that. I'm asking myself this. I'm like, how would I have known that? How would I have understood? What does that word even mean that I just said? You know what I mean? Like, but you just you get infused with something, right? And that's pretty cool. And then when you start to accept that, because I think that's happening to a lot more people, more so. And I think, for me, my first experiences were that I freaked out. So there's a lot of that resistance because you're aware of an out-of-body experience. But I think if you don't freak out and you realize it's just part of it's a cool journey. You're going on a little trip. You're going on a ride. You'll come home safely, relax. When you look at it from that perspective, man, those downloads flood in. You get not only do you get the, how you say it, like the vision or the ideas, that you get the playbook that comes along with it. So here's the idea. And here's exactly how you implement it. And you're like, wow, I didn't even know that.
I call it remembering what your soul already knows.
Exactly.
So all you're doing it's all you're doing, which is why it's so easy. It isn't like learning something new. It's almost like, oh, I knew that. Mm-hmm. It's almost like remembering something you already know because you're getting a download of what you already know, and therefore it's instant. It's not like learning something new. You just suddenly get it.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
And be interesting. I remember saying it would have been really cool to have a brain scan before my awakening and a brain scan now to see what changed, because I don't know about you, but I felt like my mind has gone through just massive, like building new neurons and synapses, and I could feel my brain like firing up new neurons, or I don't even know my technology. Feel my brain firing up with things that I didn't feel before. It'd be really cool if there were a doctor out there that did before and after brain scans, before awakening, after awakening brain scans.
That would be actually very
probably
cool.
Just already manifested one. Now probably someone's going to show up and be like, I'll do it.
There's a guy in Orange County that does brain scans. It'd be really funny. His name is Dr. Amen. Or Dr. Amen. He'd be the perfect guy for that before and after awakening brain scans.
Not only have I noticed it only also with my brain, but my whole body feels youthful, energetic, more energy. Just I don't feel like I'm aging at all. If anything, I actually feel like my age is digressing. So from that perspective too. That's a win-win. I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? That awakening is, it's mentally, emotional, physical, and spiritual. So all four aspects of our being, mind, body, heart, and spirit, are all experiencing this awakening experience. Yeah, and I had somebody emailing me a couple of days ago. She's like, I don't know. She said, am I going crazy? Am I dealing with depression? What's going on with me? I don't want to hang out with my old friends anymore. I don't want to watch violent movies anymore. I don't want want to watch really the news anymore. There are things I don't want to eat. She said, what's wrong with me? And I said, you're not crazy. You're just awakening. There's just a point when everything in our older reality just no longer interests us anymore.
It's so true.
Exactly.
We stopped watching the news in January. I mean, just literally the first week of January, we haven't watched news since then. And it's really awesome.
And our eating habits have severely shifted.
It's so awesome not to watch that and really get in, it's really soul fulfilling. Fulfilling, because you're not watching it, you know what I mean? And it's really great. So, I mean, I don't miss it at all. People tell us all the time what's going on in Florida before we know it, So they do. And so that happens a lot, but which is cool, The
other thing too is as you grow spiritually and as your awareness expands, you don't want to do things that are going to set you back further, whether it's drinking or smoking or eating junk or, not taking care of your body. You are inspired even more to take better care of yourself because, as you improve your health, your awareness expands and your connection to source just becomes that much more intense and heightened.
That becomes the importance of your life. You know what I mean? And you take a look at it as like that this phase or this go around of life, this reset button is let's connect with source. That's the mission.
Focus.
Mission source. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is we go in that direction. And that's the cool thing getting on that ride. You know what I mean? Then you don't think about the other things, you normally would think about in the other phase of your life. You know what I mean? You just don't, because you get such a cool, you get magic out of that. You see the magic unfold.
Yeah. And also your mind shifts from what can I do for me to what can we do to help all of us? What can we do to help elevate humanity? What can we do to share our experiences to help others grow? So in that shift, in this from the ego to the heart base, like you're saying, your whole essence, everything about you starts to shift from me to we.
Mm-hmm.
Because you realize we is really me anyway. You know what I mean? And once you realize that we is me, meaning that we're all connected and we all got to really lift each other. You know what I mean? Then you realize, and that's the ticket there.
That's the other thing I would say too. That really, before you always say, we're all connected, and that all sounds lovely, right? But you're like, whatever. Your mind couldn't conceive how are we really all connected. It just didn't. Sounds great on the surface, but how's that really working out? Or how's that really work? But now you can clearly see, okay, I totally get it. Because we're all energy and everything is interconnected, I guess we are really all connected from that point of view, right? And everything that we touch and everything that we see and everything that's out in the galaxies and the cosmos all stems from, yes, we are all truly one. We all are connected. So, and going back to, I used to think to myself, well, geez, how can just one human being, one person, one body energetically even make a dent in what's going on in humanity? It just wasn't in my consciousness to be able to connect that. And now when you understand that we are truly all connected and we are all divinely connected, it makes sense, and you can see how just one human being, one body, one soul, one mind has the ability to energetically spread throughout the entire cosmos.
Yeah, and I remember reading somewhere a few years ago that one person in the vibration of unconditional love is equal to 1,000 people in fear.
There you go.
Impact one person can make.
Exactly, and that is the truth. That is absolutely the truth.
I can honestly say, it's like I was thinking about it this morning, Victoria. I was just thinking this morning, and I've been thinking about it a lot the last couple of days. We're a business, right? I mean, so you deal with stuff that happens in business. I mean, it's just part of business. You know what I mean? But the things that normally, trigger, or I don't get fixated on anything, which is very, very, it's great. I love it. You know what I mean? But I don't fixate on anything. I just kind of it's like a very catch and release thing. It's like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? And that's it. And it's still like that. So it's a much more freeing experience. You know what I mean? And And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact of taking a lot of the me concept out of you and really connecting with your soul sisters and brothers, because then we bear the heavy lifting for each other. You know what I mean? Spiritually, we do the heavy lifting. Like I may have a heavy lifting I need on certain areas. Someone has a heavy lifting they need on certain areas, and we bear that for each other. So that's I'm noticing that, and I like I said, I've been thinking about that the last couple of days. I'm like, wow, that's pretty awesome. I'm not even like these things I would normally do that, and I don't even think about them. Catch and release.
I love that, catch and release. That is such a great visual, because usually what people do when a problem comes in, they sit and mull over it and grind it up and it become obsessed with it. Then it takes over your mind, or just look at it and go, oh, well, that's an interesting thing. And then let it go. Because most of what comes in really isn't, it's minutia.
Yeah.
It comes in and it's not really anything. And you just look at it and then let it go. And a lot of times things just magically fix themselves, but it's our obsession with it that makes it so much worse than it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, we are getting a little low on time. I want to talk about your Ascended Master store. I know this is also one of your newest creations. And so let's tell the audience about that.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it. So this is one of those things that, divinely inspired, right? It came from a download with here's the vision and here's what you do with it. So the Ascended Master store is appropriately named. And the reason being that is because we've interviewed so many, Victoria, we've interviewed, close to 2,000 people, I think now, right? And, we believe that that's the Ascended Master energy coming through right now. You know what I mean? We truly believe that, not limited to the 3 or 4 that we know about in books, but there's a ton of ascended or ascending, however you want to phrase it, but there's a lot of teachers out there that are coming through. So we created the Ascended Master store, and what it is, it's a one-of-a-kind video directory where people will be able to click on a section called sessions, which is, they want a reading, they want a coaching session, products, entertainment, books, whatever it is they're looking for that they're already buying and shopping for right now. They'll be able to click on the section, see a bunch of videos open up from different masters, ascended masters. Click on that. In 5 to 7 minutes, they're going to get a vibe of that person, which is very, very cool. So unlike a lot of what you see out there, they'll get to see, and it's myself, is really interviewing people on, what it is their gift is. So, we're wanting to know the questions that people are asking for with, hey, who are you? What's your gift? How are you going to benefit people? And how can people get a hold of you? And in that 5 to 7 minute period, we covered that. So when the person clicks on that video over a very brief period of time, they're going to get that vibe of that person and know very quickly if that person fits into their plan. If that's someone they want to go through. It saves so much time and energy for them just going on the internet, circling through these things, all this research. We've cut out all that for them. So the Ascended Master Store is really created as a way for people on their journey to get a very quick, very efficient, energetic experience and find the person, product, services, courses that they're looking for right at their fingertips. So that's what it is. So AscendedMasters.store.
I love that. And I was talking to my class last night. I think you two know that I teach what I call my Transcendence Process. So I was talking with my students last night, and I was saying that, 10 years ago when I was given this process, it was for myself, and I was told at some point I would be teaching it. And what I was being shown 10 years ago is that what took me all those years to learn, that there would come a time when people would be able to move through that process so much faster. So I was seeing what took me 5 years to develop for myself, that there would come a time when people would be able to rapid advance through that in as fast as, say, 5 months. Mm-hmm. And there was a part of me that was saying, well, that's not fair because it was so hard for me.
Look at all that work.
It's just that little ego that's not going to be fair, that they don't have to work so hard for it. But what I was seeing is the reason it's going to be so much faster for people to ascend through what I call the 4th dimensions, which is where we process our lives, is because there's so many more tools and resources available than there used to be. So 10 years ago, there really weren't that many resources available. I was doing this all myself because there really wasn't a lot of other places to go. But now, like with Ascended Master Store, people can go and get all the resources they need and move through the processes, move through the ascension processes, which can be very uncomfortable when you're going through them, but move through them with so much more grace and ease and clarity and speed than we did even 10 years ago.
Yes, exactly.
That's exactly right.
There's so many tools. It's like low-hanging fruit. It's low-hanging fruit everywhere. All you have to do is pick it. Look for it, pick it, and it's literally right there in front of your eyes.
Heaven is on earth right now. Heaven is on earth right now, and we can just now we have the teachers here with us, so we just talk to them. Hey, okay, this is how you get your body right. This is how you get your mind right. This is how you get your prosperity
Finances
right. You know, this is how you get your spirit right. And you know, we're working in that existence right now. We're there. It's,
I mean, if you think about it, if we had been taught in school even just a tenth of what we know now, think of how the world would have shifted. So now moving into the future, as schools are changing and new private schools are opening up, let's say the public, you know, hopefully will start changing as well, their philosophy. But as that changes and you have all these beautiful little ones coming in already infused with this knowledge, and they're being taught how to enhance that knowledge, the speed and the rate of the world ascending and accelerating is just limitless.
Yeah. And we don't need to live in a place of like, there's going to be the proverbial battle of good versus evil. I mean, who knows when that ever ends or if it ever ends. But so we don't need to live in that also, though. We can break out of that and be like, okay, whatever.
It is there, but I'm not even.
Yeah, like like, okay, all right, do your thing, right? And we can just really, but we can start to really just say, okay, hey, this is the side of love. This is the side of where we want to live up. We understand what's happening with the dark side, so we know how to live a better light side, right? And so then we can just again start to really work and manifest and really create. Heaven on earth is now. I really truly believe that. I really do.
Absolutely.
We really do. It's right here for us at our fingertips. We got the soul sisters and brothers that are here, again, you know, helping us through it, all of us, you know. And the minute we realize that it is all of us, and you know, we'll vibrate, and we'll find our whatever, our cluster, whatever, however you define it. But we'll get there. But once we find that, you know, work it out, and it's gonna come a lot effortlessly. Yeah. You know. Then
and it's been growing over the years.
Yeah.
You know, we've been seeing it like the bubble has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually it will become our global collective reality. I honestly believe that. And eventually the fear and the darkness and the evil and all that stuff will dissipate into the nothingness from whence it came.
It won't be part of our existence.
That's what I was just about to say.
Exactly. Because it cannot exist.
Yeah.
In a love-based reality. It just can't.
Yeah.
And so the more of us who start to recognize that, and we make that how we move about our lives and expand that outward, eventually it will become the collective consciousness.
Yeah.
And enough of us are now in it that it is starting to. That's why the wave is happening faster than ever before, because there are so many of us who started that process 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Unknowingly.
Right?
You know what I mean? Unknowingly.
Yeah, my case was 1987, but
like, you know, maybe this is just a phase in my life. But 10 years later, you figure out it's not a phase in your life.
Yeah, well, but think about it. Think about that. The first wave was actually in the 1980s with people like Louise Hay and
exactly.
when they wrote those spiritual based self-help books.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. They were way out there on the leading edge of, you know, the new age movement, which we know is people are very confused about what they call a new age movement. They need some clarification about that.
Topic for another conversation.
That was the first wave. And then we had 2008, 2012. That was another wave. And now there's another even bigger wave happening right now. And it feels like this wave is a wave that's really going to take over the planet, because there's so many.
I agree with that.
It already is. It's already starting to absorb the planet now, which is a really good thing.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a fun ride. It's a great time to be alive.
It is.
It really is. I wake up every morning and I sit in gratitude. I'm so grateful I get to be here right now, and so grateful for the role that I get to play.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We were saying earlier that I wouldn't trade it. We have the greatest gig ever. I mean, it's like so much fun. Like, I mean, other than, okay, the only other one I would maybe trade it for would be like
Home Shopping Network.
yes, but
I'm not being funny.
no, that's true. Somebody like on the shows where you get to go try food all around the world. I'd say that was a really great gig. Would be a really great gig. But other than that, this is like the best. I mean, we just get to talk about. We connect with the best people, with the greatest minds. We learn every single solitary day. We're learning something new, and we get to learn and understand the secrets of the universe.
And the spiritual just rising. Boy, that's just awesome. You know what I mean? Just fantastic. It really is.
Yeah.
What a cool thing to experience. It's like boom, energy into like someone plugs you back in. Every time you have these kind of conversations, you're plugged in and just supercharged. And you walk away from these and you're like, wow, I feel freaking
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Well, that spiritual high is the best high on earth. I mean, and that's what I would love to be able to explain to people. I'm like, I don't need to get high because that plugging into source is so blissful. There isn't anything out there that can compare to it. And we get to have that every time we have these conversations. We get that because even though again we've never met, and I'm so excited that I get to meet you two very soon. I know it soon because we've been doing this for so many years and have never met in person. But still, even over the camera, we still experience that electrifying energy. That is that it's the direct connection to source, but it's also that because we're all part of the one, it's also that connection that we experience between ourselves.
Right.
Yes.
And that's the best high there is.
Yes, you can't. Well, that's why everybody tries to get that feeling with narcotics or anything, that's going to take your mind to someplace else, because everybody wants to feel like this. And if there was just like a magic pill, I'll take it. I'll do it. I'll try it. Yeah. But if you don't want to take the magic pill, you got to put the time in. You got to really work on yourself. You have to clear away your own issues and go within and take the time to discover.
But this is the fastest way to do it, everybody, right?
Now is the best time to do it because, like you said, all of the tools are already there.
Yeah.
Everything you need is already here.
Yep. Yeah, we're on what I call light speed.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. I'm so excited for what we have moving forward. There's some really exciting things happening under the surface.
It appears to be that way. Yes.
It is really, really exciting. And you and I will stay connected about that. And maybe the next time we have a conversation, we'll be able to expand a little bit more on some of the exciting things that are happening under the surface.
I would love to.
That would be pretty cool. Thanks for having us again.
Oh, and thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And for all of you who have been watching, thank you for being here as well. And I hope that you got from this show the immense love that we all have for all of you and for all life on Earth. Remember to hold your light so high, others can't help but find their own light. Together, we will create a world based in peace, harmony, and prosperity. And as always, get bold, be fearless, and live free.
Much love.